Alright, boys and girls, for those of you who didn't see, about a month or so ago I actually uploaded a video on this channel talking about my official 2024 AFL mock draft, and obviously since I made that video, about 888 different trades have happened with a bunch of different teams that has just completely changed what the draft order does look like now. And we've also seen even the projected players in the phantom drafts and all of the above really change. And not only have they changed, but so is my opinion on not only who is going with the first overall pick, but with a ton of other picks in this draft, which we're going to get over all of that and more. Again, if you do disagree with me in the comment section down below, please don't go and threaten to touch me or something, because I understand we all have a different opinion here. So, you know, don't threaten to touch me without consent, because that wouldn't be fun for anyone. Obviously, yeah, we all have a different opinion. We're all entitled to our own opinion. So I would very much like to hear your thoughts down below if you do disagree or if you do agree. Again, there is still a pretty big amount of you guys who watch these videos who are not yet subscribed to the channel. So, you know, do me a big favor and just go and take a couple seconds out of your day to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more AFL content like this. But enough jibber jabber now. Let's just get straight into CHB, aka me, Jordan's 2024 AFL mock draft, with, of course, the first overall pick, the team that stunk absolute doo-doo in 2024 to the point where people were almost putting their Richmond memberships in the microwave and jumping off the fourth row of the MCG. And I'm a Richmond fan, so I'd know. But at pick 1, I think in the last mock draft, I originally had Jagger Smith. I'm actually going to be taking the guy who a lot of people have said has moved up to the number 1 projections, and a lot of sources have said that Richmond are extremely interested in taking, and that does happen to be Sam Lawler out of the Greater Western Victoria Rebels. 187 centimeter midfield slash forward. You know, the way he plays look extremely similar to Richmond's arguably greatest player of all time, but he's got the exact same height and pretty much the exact same body as what Dusty, of course, has now, which is kind of sus to be saying about a 17-year-old, but you know, here we are. Again, is he 17? He might be 18. I might not be sus here. He's an extremely athletic, strong, big-bodied midfield who is really hard to get tackled, but also has something that I think Richmond are really, really lacking, and that is leadership. And obviously just ball use in the inside 50. Again, watching Richmond play, you've got Tim Taranto and Jacob Hopper butchering the ball 888 times in that midfield, and if they're not turning it over, Dion Prestia is dislocating a hamstring or something out the back while the play is going on. They just need a guy in there as well who can use the ball, which Sam Lawler has a great ability to do. And if the guy gets tired, he has an ability and a power to go rest down forward, which is an extremely rare thing to find in players, especially those who are young. You could play him as a high half forward or even rest him as a full forward. This guy is the complete package who may not be the best in the draft yet, but I think definitely has the most potential pretty much nearly out of all of these players at the time of making this video. He, again, I think could be absolutely insane, and I've never ever compared a player to Dusty in the draft before, and I usually get angry when people do so, but this guy's got like Dustin Martin written all over him, and I think that's why Richmond will take him with the first overall pick. Now, with the second overall pick, I believe the North Melbourne Football Club will be selecting Levi Ashcroft, which will be getting matched by the Brisbane Lions. Of course, Levi Ashcroft being the son of Marcus Ashcroft, a brilliant Brisbane player who won, obviously, bulk premierships. Now his son has joined that and not only won a premiership in, you know, Will Ashcroft, but it won the Norm Smith. And now you've got the younger brother coming in Levi, who I think most people think is the best player in this draft. The 179 centimeter inside midfielder who not only is a clearance beast, but this guy can play on the outside too. Like, I've seen Ashcroft let some of those other bigger bodied midfielders go in and get the ball out and get a clearance, and he gets the ball and then obviously uses his prolific ball skills to deliver it to a forward or deliver it to another player on the team. And you obviously think that's all impressive, but then he can actually be the guy that goes in and gets the clearance and dominates in the inside. He's also got a really good ability to be able to kick a nice goal. Again, watching him play against the Dandenong Stingrays, I think in like the prelim of the Talent League, was insane. And the fact that the Premiership team gets arguably the best player in the draft, it really does hurt my feelings. But of course, now that North Melbourne have the 3rd overall pick, I actually think they're going to go for Harvey Langford, who has jumped up to the number 3 on the Phantom projection, and that's where I do believe he will be going. Again, Harvey Langford is much different to Levi Ashcroft, a little bit more like Sam Lawler. Again, we know if Richmond don't take Lawler at 1, they'll probably take him at 2, but the reason they're interested in Lawler and, obviously Langford is because they're looking for a big-bodied midfielder that can not only play in the midfield, but go down forward. Again, we've seen Harvey Langford have the ability to rest as kind of like a full forward or a high half forward, play both roles really well, and then when needed to, go on the midfield and dominate. He's a really good inside ball winner who, again, I know a lot of people will say they've already got a tall, big body in Luke Davies-Uniacke there, but I think they have a really good chance here to add another one. And I know teams don't often do that unless it's Carlton with like Matt Kennedy and Patrick Cripps, previously Will Setterfield, etc. But I think North can have 2 here, and if it's not working out at one time and maybe it looks a bit slow, Langford can go and play forward, and that's a really nice ability he has as a 190 centimeter inside midfielder. Again, he's got star level written all over him with his size, presence, and versatility to, of course, impact on the contest. Really good inside midfielder when it comes to clearance work and ball winning, but also can go down forward. What more do you want? I think it's a good pick by them. And then again, at pick 4, we've got Carlton now, who are a surprise team who traded up. I believe they traded up to try and get Finn O'Sullivan. I think when the rumours were coming out that Richmond would be passing on O'Sullivan at 1, it looks like, at the time making this video, to potentially go for Lawler, I think Carlton realised, hold on, we can get a really nice inside midfielder here who is arguably the best in the competition, who's a 182 centimetre player that has one of the craziest verticals I've ever seen. Like, this guy has taken some phenomenal marks at the draft combine. He led, I think, the verticals out of like most of the players and really showed how good he was there. He's got good speed, good ball winning. The only 2 issues I think that Finn O'Sullivan has about his game is injuries are a big one. He's had a lot of injuries as of late, which may scare Carlton fans, obviously. And he has never really been the big disposal winner. But I think with Carlton having Patrick Cripps and Sam Walsh as your big disposal winners, Finn O'Sullivan would fit nicely into that team so well. It's just a guy who can come in and use the prolific disposal that he has, be an athletic, really good type of player who, again, just can add some more craft and dynamic to what that Carlton midfield is, which has previously been, called too slow and too tall. You now bring in a really quick, athletic inside midfielder who is known for his ball use. Again, I think that's why Carlton really made the jump up to this pick to get Finn O'Sullivan. Again, with the 5th overall pick, I've got the Adelaide Crows actually selecting a homegrown player in Sid Draper. Again, is Sid Draper the best at this pick? Some people would say yes, some people would say no. But the thing is, with teams like, non-Victorian teams drafting certain Victorians, having the worry of them go home, but Adelaide might also look to just bring home a South Australian instead of Victorian to know that that Victorian won't request a trade back home. So Sid Draper could be that guy. I think he's the best ranked South Australian product here. A really good inside midfielder who is also quick. Again, unlike the previous players, he's not a guy who can really go down forward. That's not really what his game is about. But I think he adds, again, a lot of quickness and a lot of agility to that Adelaide midfield, which has also been kind of critiqued for being pretty slow and, I think, one-dimensional. A guy like Sid Draper can now join, obviously, James Peatling and Isaac Cumming potentially in the wing, as well as Alex Neil-Bullen chipping in the midfield. That creates a much more dynamic piece that is not just slow players like Rory Laird, Matt Crouch, Jordan Dawson. You're now adding some speed in there, like a guy like Sid Draper, who I think would fit quite comfortably. He's a good inside midfielder when it comes to ball winning, clearance work. His disposal is pretty nice. His speed's good, and his agility's good. But again, as mentioned earlier, he's not like the other midfielders that I've previously mentioned who can pretty much all go forward and kick a goal. That's not really what his main game is. It's not to say that he couldn't, but also another thing with Sid Draper is he's had a lot more mature competition he's played against, being a CNFL player, while most of the players I've just talked about are under 18s players. Again, this guy, he took that next step and played in the CNFL and played against full-grown men who are really good at what they do. And we've seen sometimes when players do that, they're able to convert over to the AFL a little bit better, which a team like Adelaide, who are trying to push for the 8, may be really wanting to see. Again, with the 6th overall pick, we've got Melbourne, and I think they're going to get an absolute steal with this selection. I believe the guy I had at pick 1 previously in Jagger Smith could fall all the way to this 6th overall pick for Melbourne. Again, what more could you want from Jagger Smith? He has done absolutely everything, dominated for Richmond in the VFL, while also being an extremely good, prolific ball winner for Oakley. The guy has Zach Butters written all over him as a comparison, and I think Melbourne could really use that, considering Clayton Oliver has requested a trade for the last 2 years, and Petrarca will probably have to play a lot more forward next year because of his injury, and again, could be on the move as well. They're definitely going to be looking to bring in an inside midfielder, not only to maybe replace those guys down the line if they do decide to move, but also a guy who I think could very well fit in and play with them if they do decide to go long term. Again, Jagger Smith is arguably the best player in the draft class, and I can see why a lot of people would have him at 1. The only thing is he did not do that great at the combine from what I know, and the knock on him is that the reports are saying he can't actually kick over 40 meters, but considering the guy is one of the skinniest players I've ever seen in top of a draft, I'm sure a bit of strength and conditioning and some gym work could get this guy into having much more stronger and powerful legs and a bit of coaching and technique to be able to kick longer. So I don't see that as a massive issue, but I definitely know a lot of teams do, and that's why he has slid on a lot of people's boards, and his disposal can sometimes not be as damaging as the others. But at the end of the day, he's like the best ball winner by far in this draft class. Just dominates it and gets so much of it. It is crazy. Like, again, he did it in the VFL against grown men and grown competition for Richmond, and yeah, was dominating. So I've no doubt he can convert to AFL. And a team like Melbourne who's looking to contend maybe and try and get back in the 8, yeah, it's a match made in heaven. Of course, the next one, we've got Richmond at pick number 7. And I did have them at one stage taking a midfielder here, but I'm actually going to change my pick and have them selecting Harry Armstrong, who is the number 1 ranked key forward in this draft class. Again, I was sitting there thinking for a second. I was just saying, Lafau's probably going to be out for the first half of the year if the rumors are true, recovering from that ACL. Lynch will probably play 2 games like he does every year. Richmond really only have Jacob Kadzicki there in the forward line, and I just think with how badly Richmond need a key forward, are they going to let the best key forward in this draft class go to a different team? I don't think they're going to be really wanting him to do that. Again, when it does come to Harry Armstrong, he's a 195 centimeter tall, really athletic key forward who can definitely take a nice mark and kick a good goal. He stands out by far as the best key forward, and again, playing with Sandringham, he just won another premiership with that team, and of course Levi Ashcroft, proving that he's a winner. And every game he pretty much stood up to the challenge for the most part and was able to play really well. So I think a team like Richmond, who was absolutely desperately looking for a key forward, they got to probably take one here, and I think Harry Armstrong is the best available. Now, with the 8th overall pick, we have Josh Smiley to the St Kilda Football Club, the tall inside midfielder that some people compare to Patrick Cripps. Again, at one stage, he was ranked to go pick number 1 to Richmond, which obviously was months and months ago now. He's fallen down a little bit and was one of the few players who didn't go and play for Richmond in the VFL to prove that, to try and be number 1. But he's a 194 centimetre inside midfielder, previously being compared to Patrick Cripps, the 2-time Brownlow medalist. I mean, St Kilda, who are desperately looking for an inside midfielder right now, definitely like a couple at this rate. You can get a really big-bodied guy in there who is the same height pretty much as the guy Richmond are taking as the new full forward for their team. That's how tall this freaking man is. Like, it's crazy to see. I think he can come in there and really dominate and add some nice clearance work to them as well. And yeah, he can at sometimes. Not as good as some of the other guys, but he has been known to be able to rest forward. And I mean, why wouldn't he be able to? He's 194 centimeters. But of course, at pick number 9 as well, St Kilda as well, I've got them taking Murphy Reid, who some people think could literally go 1. Some people literally have this guy going 1. He's all over the place on the mock boards. I've seen some guys have him at 13. I mean, I've got him at 9 here, but I could very well see Richmond taking him at 6, or even a team like Adelaide taking him at, 5 at this rate. That's just the reality of things. He's a 180 centimetre inside midfielder forward who can also play on the outside. Like, I think he could actually be a really good wing in the AFL, but where I think teams really like Murphy Reid is his ball use and his ability to be able to execute the disposal. A very nice, clean player who is not the clearance guy, but more of the guy who gets the ball off the dude that gets the clearance and then, capitalizes on it with the disposal. So I think if St Kilda can add Josh Smiley at 8, the big inside midfielder clearance guy, and then they take the guy at 9 who Josh Smiley's passing it to, again, execute the disposal in Murphy Reid, that's a really good pairing. And Murphy Reid can also rest down forward or even play as a small forward is what I'm more trying to say. I think this is a good pick or two by St Kilda here, and they desperately need midfielders. This completely changes their midfield and makes it really younger, so it may take some time for them to get used to, but it definitely helps out, Jack Steele, who's just lost Brad Crouch, who I don't even know if he's ever going to play again, and the other St Kilda midfielders in there, which is not that good. Of course, we've also got now pick 10 to the Melbourne Football Club, where I've actually got them selecting Alex Taru, who is a half-back, has played some forward here and there as well, but some people think can leap in the draft. He's actually grown to 193 centimeters. I think with his growth spurt has even played as now a tall defender. He really can go everywhere. I think at the start he was playing some half-back, but now he plays as a fourth defender, kind of like Charlie Ballard kind of role as well. He does a lot of different things, and my mate who plays in the Stingrays said he actually got moved up forward onto him too, so him as a backman had to play on him up forward, which was a challenging thing too. He thought he was pretty difficult to play against. I think, considering this guy won the running vertical test at 94 centimeters, he ran 3 seconds in the 20-meter sprint and 6 minutes 36 in the 2-kilometer time trial is, absolutely insane. This guy is a freak athletically and a really good fit athlete who I think Melbourne, considering they are probably going to be looking to add to their, defense now that they've done a couple of different things and moved a couple pieces around. Unfortunately, Angus Brayshaw retiring. They're probably going to be looking for a halfback and another defender. So we'll see how he goes. Now at 193 centimeters, will he be that running halfback? I'm not sure, but considering how quick he was, and we've seen the stats, he's 2 kilometer and he's 20 meter. Jesus, this dude is so quick still. So if he can play as both roles as like a third, fourth tall defender, but also be a running type, I mean, watch out. It'd be a great pick for the Melbourne Football Club. But again, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for the latest AFL content and AFL news. Don't forget to comment your thoughts and opinions down below on my 2024 AFL mock draft top 10 picks. I'd very much like to know. Subscribe to my gaming channel and my IRL/vlogging channels. Links for them will be in the description down below. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.